Okay, this section, skills and math, is very similar to the concept of similarity. Okay, so why is it similar to the concept of similarity? Because in similarity, we have a ratio for length. So in scales and math, we also have a ratio for length. So what length are we talking about? We are talking about the math length and the actual length. So in we kind of string the actual length of a place or the actual area of a place onto a map. So the map can be like street directory or some other. So most of the time we will be using Google Map. Okay, so if your parents do use some Google Map, you can check out the Google Map. So for example, you can see two locations, like the distance between your house and your school. So on the map, maybe it just look very short, but maybe that uh, based on, though it looks so short on the map, right? But your parents actually drove quite a bit of distance sometimes. Then so they reduce the actual area to the map. They reduce the actual distance to map distance, so that there is also a specific ratio. So that's why skills and map is kind of under similarity. Okay, so there is a standard way that they actually tell you the ratio. So we always tell the ratio in this format. So 1:n. So they will always tell it in this format or this format. So they are the same thing. If you still remember that we can actually convert ratio to fraction. Okay, so there's actually a fixed meaning to it. It's a standardized standardized representation. So for example, here, the number is quite huge. Okay, so it's always in centimeter. So this part is always the map. So it represents 1 centimeter on the map, represent 200,000 centimeter actual distance. So it's kind of weird that you refer to actual distance in centimeter, because centimeter is usually used for smaller units. So for example, your pencil case is like 20 centimeter long. Okay. Usually for long distance, we will be using meter or kilometer. So in this topic, there's quite a bit of conversion. So of course, you do need to know your basic conversion, like 1 meter is 100 centimeter, 1 kilometer is 1,000 meter. So you'll be dealing with quite a number of zeros, so that's where the careless mistake can happen. Sometimes you might even deal with mm. So for example, 1 centimeter is 10 mm. Mm is the part that is on your ruler. Yeah, I don't have a ruler right now. So if you look on your ruler, 1 centimeter is divided into 10 parts. So that's the mm. Okay. So since it's a bit not logical that we use centimeter for actual distance, so sometimes we will also reduce it. So we'll reduce it. So in this case, I'm going to divide by 100. So I'll get meter. Then I can further reduce it to convert to kilometer. So maybe it's easier if you understand that, oh, okay, so every 1 centimeter, your parents actually need to drive 2 kilometers. Or if sometimes if you use Google Map for walking, 1 centimeter means you got to walk 2 kilometers. That's quite a little bit. Okay. So just be mindful that we can switch in between units for the actual distance. And the question can ask for the actual distance in meter or kilometer. Hence, it's very important that you be mindful about the units and write units in your working. So the fraction format, representative fraction, is actually the same thing. So it actually means 1 centimeter on the map. It represents 50,000 centimeter actual distance. So again, we can convert this by dividing by 100 to meter. And then we convert to kilometer by dividing by 1,000. So 1 centimeter represent 0.5 kilometer. Okay, so the first type of question, they usually require you to know how to write the scale. Okay, so you note that the scale doesn't have units because it's understood that it will always be in centimeter. So it's a worldwide standardization. So if let's say, if we got this portion, this one means 1 centimeter on the map represents 6 meter on the actual distance. So okay, you will need to convert to centimeter. So you need to be able to convert to centimeter. So you convert the 6 meter to centimeter, that will be 600 centimeter. So once both of them are in centimeter, you drop the centimeter, and that will actually give you the scale. So it's actually not correct to write the units in the scale. So it's an unspoken unit. Okay, so in this case, 4 centimeter on the map represent 30 kilometer in the actual distance. So usually we'll get to 1 centimeter first. So you're going to think 4 centimeter represent 30 kilometer. So what about you divide 4 on both sides? So that will get you 1 centimeter is to 7.5 kilometer. So usually I will do the conversion after I get 1 centimeter on the map. And usually I will try to convert very slowly. I will convert to meter first before I convert to centimeter. So I try not to jump step because there are too many zero involved. I know I'll make careless. So from here, the scale is 1:750,000. So when you tell people the scale is this, it will be understood that it is 1 centimeter on the map, representing that amount in centimeter on the actual distance. So this is called the length ratio. Okay, so the length ratio is fixed. Okay, so that is how you interpret a map. And how do we use it in the actual question? Okay, something like example 3. Okay, so if you read example 3, okay, 5 centimeter to 2 kilometer. So then we got this map. And then between 2 schools, it is 8 centimeter. So we would like to find out how far is the 2 schools, the actual distance. Okay, so if you look at the question, the first part is always asking you for the scale. Okay, so what do you do? Do the same thing like what you did for the previous example. 5 centimeter is 2 kilometer. Convert to scale only at 1 centimeter. So you will divide by 5 on both sides. .4. So slowly do your conversion to meter first, then kilometer. Then centimeter. So once you have it in centimeter, you can drop it, and then you can say that the scale is 1:40,000. Okay, so then the question asks for the actual distance. So, and they want the actual distance in kilometer. So for me, right, usually I will not get to the scale again. I'll be using this part. Okay, I'll be using this part instead of the scale that I have gotten, because this is in the units that I wanted. So 1 centimeter represents 0.4 kilometer. So what about 8 centimeter? 8 centimeter will represent this. So usually most students will leave the answer here. Sometimes it can be a bit confusing. So confusing because they can be asking very complex question. Sometimes will involve two maps. So I think it will be easier if you answer the question. That also ensure you answer the question. So answer the question in a statement. The actual distance is so some students don't answer the question. I actually wonder, so which one is the answer? So is 8 centimeter the answer or 3.2 kilometer the answer? Okay, so interpret the values that you have found. So it's always good to answer with a statement, and I will suggest or encourage strongly that all of you should do that. Okay, then right now in part C is the reverse. In part C, we got two stadium. So the two stadium is here. Okay, I just randomly draw two stadium. So it's it's supposed to be 6 kilometer. So right now I know that they are 6 kilometer, but then I do not know what is the actual map distance. So it's the reverse. So I want to know how far these two will look. So again, which one I'll be using? So you look at the units. So again, I'm going to be using the units in terms of 0.4 kilometer. So in case some of you find this a bit difficult or confusing, how would you understand this, right? That means, right, every 0.4 kilometer actual distance is 1 centimeter on the map. So the question will be, how many sets of 0.4 kilometer will there be in 6 kilometer? So we got this whole stretch of 6 kilometer. So every 0.4 will be 1 centimeter. So you should be thinking, so how many sets of 0.4 kilometer can you find in 6 kilometer? So if you want to know how many sets, there will be something like 6 kilometer divided by 0.4 kilometer. So if you divide by 0.4, you get around 15 groups of 0.4 kilometer. So that is like 15 centimeter on the map. So the two stadiums are 15 centimeter on the map. Okay, so there's an example like how they will ask you. It's actually quite easy if you have a basic interpretation and you don't mess up the units.